let's talk about scoring for a minute. We were trying to work out how much would we be prepared to pay to get to a certain level of whiskey. Because our whole aim is to buy something that we enjoy and spend a bit more if that's what it takes, as long as it's worth drinking. Because if you're going to drink alcohol, it may as well be good. And we had come up with a range of, the curve of price, it goes exponential, doesn't it? The older a whiskey gets or the higher the score. So to go from a 85 to a 88 might be $50 to $75, but to go to an 88 to 90 might be going up to $150. So to get to 90 to 95, it seems like going up to thousands of dollars. And so we just kind of thought, well, it's going to go up, but we don't want to get into art prices. And we just kind of came up with some numbers where we said, right, if something could score 95 and it would cost $450, it would be worth it. We ended up with this little chart. I'll just show you the chart. The columns from left to right are the ABV, because at higher ABV you're getting more flavour, or more alcohol at least, for the same price. So we kind of came up with this range that a score of 85 at 40 ABV would be around $40, and a score of 95 would be around 450, meaning that's what we would be prepared to pay. And with our target being in the 90 to 94 point range, at 40 ABV, that would be spending kind of $80 to $300. Now, of course, you walk into a store and you pick up, well, I was going to say Ugadal because that's very high, but anyway, this is 46 ABV on Ardbeg 10. And I would look across at the 46 ABV, you'd look at the price being $50, and it would only need to score an 87 to justify its price. Glenfarclas 12. It cost us $48 and it needed to score 87. It started a little rough, but it did seem to get better as it went down the bottle. Can you remember your first experience?
The only moment I enjoyed was when we were making mince pie.
If you don't know what mince pies are, they're British sweet little tarts, and you often put whiskey or brandy or something into the mix.
Because we thought we don't like it, so okay, let's use it in the mince pie.
Yeah, we thought we'd use this in the mince pies because we weren't liking it that much.
I saw that pasta, but we were making the cake. I said, oh, that was very, very nice.
Yeah, it was really good. I think it had sat in the glass a very long time, and it had been open for quite a long time. I haven't made a note, leave in the glass for 5 hours, because that's what had happened that day. So I think we figured at the end this was about an 87 for us, which is what it actually needed to score. And we did decide to go ahead and get the Glenfarclas 17, and that is now in the blind tasting. Balvenie Caribbean Cask, 14 years old, quite a bit more expensive. This was a $76 bottle for us, which needed to score a 90 to justify its price to us. And we scored it a whole run of 86, 86, 88, 87, 86, 86. And there was one day where we were tasting it. Can you remember we tasted it alongside others?
It was the best. People actually tasted rum.
We scored it.
The rum was at the baby came back. The rum wasn't there at all.
We scored it an 89 that day, but we were tasting it alongside Abelauer, Abuna, Glendronach 12.
I see no wonder.
What else? Other sherry ones. And in retrospect, we started to think maybe it just tasted better because the other ones still had some flavour mixing in with this one. Because when we came back to it by itself, especially as it got down to the bottom, it was
down to fruity. There was no indication of rum.
Yeah, it got very flat, didn't it? So I get the feeling that the rum component to this is quite thin. Maybe it wasn't in a rum cask for very long and it sort of dissipated. So a score of 90 was required. Ultimately, I would say we were at about 86 or not even an 87 really. It had some good days. 86 to 87, that would not be something I would buy again.
No.
Not for that price. Ardbeg 10. We have a bit of a split feeling on Ardbeg 10, but you know, this is $51. It needed to score an 87, and the first number I have written down here is 76. We must have not liked the neck pour or something, but then it was 86, 87, somewhere around there. But you really like Ardbeg 10.
I think because it's so simple.
Yeah. And you really like that peat smoke. For me, I always came down on the side of Ardbeg Uigeadail, you know, with a bit of the sherry flavour in it. And because Uigeadail is relatively stronger alcoholic-wise, to me they always worked out sort of about equal pricing, and I would rather have Uigeadail. But I do miss the fact that we don't have any Ardbeg 10 now. Even if it's just for the sake that if I want to blend some peat into something, that's probably why it's used up, because I kept doing blending experiments. Okay, that's enough talk. Let's get to our new whiskey.